So a very exciting video today, guys. We're going to be reviewing DOPA's infamous Twisted Fate. Now, he's currently, at the time of this solo queue game, sitting in Grandmaster, doing a very good job, considering coming back from a massive hiatus due to military service. Now, the reason I chose this VOD is because it's a very tricky game, and it's a very realistic game to what you guys will experience. And there's a lot of small things that he does that I think separates him from the average solo queue player. And quite honestly, he's exceeding my expectations. I thought that it'd be a lot more rusty, but it looks like he's come back to the game very easily. And this is going to be a bit of a technical review. We're going to be really getting into the nitty gritty. So some of these concepts may fly over your head, but I think I can't really do a DOPA VOD review justice without really getting into the details. Now, this VOD here I chose because it's a hard one. As you can see, LeBlanc Hecarim, very high threat mid-jungle 2v2. We have a lot of CC on our team with the Cannon and the Thresh, which gives the enemy high value for Mercs, which is definitely annoying for us. This is a matchup that is inherently very heavy trading. You need to be willing to trade HP for the wave. You need to be hyper intentional with your resets. And you need to go a little bit more of a defensive build path, typically with Mercs and going Catalyst first to give yourself that durability so you don't just die. So this VOD encapsulates great matchup understanding, beautiful fundamentals, and very specific things done in the mid game that set him apart from other players. So this is a matchup where we want to be going for early resets. Now this trade here, even from the get-go, very intentional, leveraging his bone plating there, tries to proc the Electro on the back end. But the reason that's a great trade is because then now we've incentivized LeBlanc to use W on us outside the wave before the wave settles, so that now we can actually contest the first wave freely. And this allows us to also get access to the second wave a lot easier. If we gave LeBlanc the high value W on the first wave, it can be a little bit harder for us to wrestle that control and make LeBlanc react to waves. Our goal in this matchup is not necessarily to kill the LeBlanc, but it's really just to minimize, get to our wave clear breakpoint, and play away from the LeBlanc and play to the sides, utilizing our R here. Great job flicking through cards here to create a bit of space. Try to contest that level 2. Don't have our bone plating here, so his trades get a bit sketchy. Beautifully aimed Q there through the wave and onto the LeBlanc. Trade lovely on the back end there. Also spacing that W to even out the trade. So as you can already see, already heavy trading, and it's a matchup that you can't avoid it. It's a matchup that you need to be willing to trade HP for the wave, because if you're just sitting back behind the wave, you're going to get zoned, you're going to take bad trades, you're going to lose farm, and then you're going to delay your key spikes, and it gets very messy very quickly. And DOPA understands that. So as you can see, he really understands his matchups here. So keeping the wave neutral, very convenient for us, because then that means when we are ready to play for the wave, it's a lot easier for us. Because if we were to half-ass shove this wave and get stuck on the LeBlanc side, we're going to be in a lot of trouble, especially into a Hecarim. So great spacing there, stays out of the W range, leverages the W slow, red card AoE, does proc the Electro. And now, because we've already burnt both of our pots, we need to be intentional about our recall. We trade all of our mana and our resources for this wave here, knowing that this is our wave that we really need to recall on. And so we can get that beautiful early recall to make sure we're nice and healthy and don't give LeBlanc the ability to utilize that early strength. So great recall, great last hitting as well. So it looks like Hecarim has done a full clear to topside. Unfortunately, Cannon dies to that gank. That's a really bad, really bad gank to die to, because Hecarim's going to get really juicy off that. Very intentional TP location here as well to make sure if Hecarim does move into that topside river, we're in a position to contest. So LeBlanc's actually decided to stick around, which we don't mind as a TF. We can now lock this guy in lane. So it looks like here, DOPA trying to prevent the LeBlanc from getting a free recall, and we can kind of trap this guy in lane for now. Now, LeBlanc did take TP, not Ignite, which is worth noting. And so now what DOPA is trying to do is make this guy sweat for his recall, trying to maybe deny LeBlanc a little bit of farm and ensure we have first move. Wouldn't surprise me if Hecarim now recalling, going back onto his bot side camps. Good hover on the bot side here. And now LeBlanc, we noticed that LeBlanc is actually stuck around a little bit longer. So we can just keep hard shoving here. We've got plenty of vision. We're not under any threat right now. And we know LeBlanc needs to recall. So this is a really El Clasico example of just trapping our lane opponent in lane. If they want to overstay, we punish them, and really leveraging our high amount of wave clear with TF. And so the great thing about this strategy is that if they overstay, like we have here, we can keep shoving them in and go for a second recall, such that we don't really miss anything. We can kind of, spend the same amount of gold as a LeBlanc here. So beautiful little second recall, burning all of our resources. And this is also going to sync us up beautifully with our team here. So nice little early null magic here. Going to give us a little bit of durability to survive this rough matchup. Grub's coming up in about a minute. Game is very close. So already as a Twisted Fate, I'd be thinking, where do I want to be directing my attention? Where's my jungler? Jungler on bot side, Grub's coming up in 50 seconds, getting close to my level 6, just keeping eyes on what's going on the map here. So beautiful Q accuracy there, weaving in some Qs. LeBlanc actually does not have any pots, which is worth noting here. LeBlanc missing, could be roaming top side, but I think it's unlikely. Does ping missing. Okay, LeBlanc did stick around. Beautiful high value Q through the wave onto LeBlanc. Does get hit by the W there, but bone plating comes in handy. Hecarim showing on top side. We have got our level 6. So we have a little bit of adaptability here. So we should be maybe shadowing top side to see what's going on, but maybe doesn't want to make a play away from his Graves, which makes sense. Looks like he gets ganked from his client there. So poor guy. Not the greatest time to alt tab. Here we go. Nice little ward there. We can kind of anticipate there's going to be action on top side. Now, I'm very, very surprised that LeBlanc isn't getting in TF's face right now. I don't really know why LeBlanc isn't posturing more aggressively than he is. Maybe LeBlanc is tunnel visioning on the wave, or maybe allocating mental stack towards her jungler's location. I don't know what's going on here. But yeah, DOPA's getting free access to the wave, notices that they're fighting over grubs. Beautiful location on the R there, chains CC into a one-shot. So pretty straightforward play here. Recognizes that they have a bit of move over the LeBlanc and is able to execute a nice little 2v3. Looks like they trade kills. Very creative pathing there, taking majority of the plants. And looks like they... Oh, bloody hell, that was close. Okay. So, yeah, I mean, I would say the thing that confuses me during that whole sequence is he's going back here. I really thought LeBlanc would actually contest this wave more, and she can. She's post level 6. She should actually be bullying TF a lot more, posturing more aggressively, and there's no gank threat from Graves, so I don't really know what LeBlanc is doing there. Maybe she didn't feel comfortable trading resources with no pots. I don't know, but we leverage that man advantage and we're able to, get some kills here. But LeBlanc does clean up a few kills, which is definitely not good for us. So I think LeBlanc ends up walking away from that with 3 kills. So LeBlanc is now 3-0, which is definitely no fun as a Twisted Fate. So we work towards our Mercs and our Catalyst. So we're still very tanky. We can minimize. But game's not easy. Bot lane struggling a little bit in the 2v2. Ken is not having the greatest game. Game is definitely, but by no means easy. So we have no ultimate, so we've got some downtime a little bit here. There's not really a ton we can do as a TF. I really want to stall out this game and slow it down until we can get our next R. So this is really where it's going to be all about minimizing, focusing on farm, getting good quality vision, and just kind of complementing our jungler whenever we see fit here. So LeBlanc going to be recalling so we can hard job, deny a little bit of farm, probably establish some vision here. Interested to see where he places his ward here. Hecarim does show onto bot side. Okay, given the jungle's already showing, we probably don't need to have the most sophisticated ward, but does place a ward on bot side, defending his bot side jungle, potentially to spot out whether or not Hecarim's going to be moving on to Graves' Raptors. Does spot Hecarim here on the Dragon as well, so gathering a hell of a lot of information here. Beautiful little short trade there, leveraging the bone plating nicely. So now this is, I would say, one of the trickiest stages of the lane where we just have very limited wave clear as a TF, and LeBlanc can kind of stat check us here, doing some nice movement, avoids the chain, but really just to hang on for dear life. In my own personal experience, this is the stage of the lane where I really, really don't have a lot of fun. I've got no ultimate. I'm going to get stat checked in the 1v1. I don't really have a lot of threat onto LeBlanc. My wave clear is kind of dog shit, so I'm just trying to hang on there. Notice how he's really keeping his distance, especially when his bone plating is down, trying to prevent LeBlanc from getting into W range and really just minimizing. Okay, so does have TP in his back pocket here. Looks like he's contemplating recalling, but he wants to stay for another one here. Maybe because there's no point in recalling right now, because he doesn't have his ultimate up anyway. So he wants to be maximally strong by the time he gets his next ultimate up. So tries to trade a bit of HP for the wave. And this is what I was expecting from LeBlanc. LeBlanc can just zone here. TF doesn't have enough wave clear and we're just losing farm now. And that's just the reality of this kind of power trough as a Twisted Fate. So it looks like he was sticking around for Catalyst gold. Ends up getting Catalyst here. Needed that 900 gold. Beautiful. So Game is still hard. Bot lane not doing great, top lane not doing great, and Graves just power farming here for now. So next scrub's coming up relatively soon. Ultimate is up. Good hover onto bot side. I love this hover because we see our jungler in the area. We put our body in the area. We see Hecarim. We know we have first move. Great patience on the Hecarim engage to make sure they've committed. Beautiful target selection onto the Hecarim. Next target onto the AD carry. And we're able to get a beautiful little play there. And what I like about this is it's just good fundamentals. If we go back here, he's hyper aware of his jungler's location. He's not hovering topside. He's not sitting in the middle of the lane. He's not trying to hit the tower. He knows that his jungler is hovering bot side and he puts his body in the area. He knows he has a little bit of tempo over the LeBlanc and he's able to kind of execute it. Just a clean little man advantage play. And this is kind of TF 101 here. The skill that you must develop as a TF is just being hyper aware of your jungler's location. So Beautiful doesn't hesitate to get immediately back mid. Doesn't need to recall here. We've got plenty of resources and we don't have our rower gold in base anyway. LeBlanc doesn't seem to be roaming here. Is actually just whacking away at our tower here. So this definitely looks like a game we're going to be playing a lot around our jungler. Kennen does get a solo kill topside. So LeBlanc, for some reason, allows us to get an extended trade with our red buff here. We also know Thresh is coming in the area. Beautiful extended trade there, leveraging our red buff. And here comes Hecarim. I mean, this is an amazing play for us. And the reason this is such an amazing play is that even if we don't kill anyone here, we're wasting so much of the enemy's time. Hecarim has just died, instantly got back on the map, got completely chunked, and now our Graves is fully replenished resources, getting back on the map, and actually has a lot of tempo over this Hecarim here. So yeah, really, really nice play there. Kind of punishes the poor spacing on the LeBlanc and is able to get a beautiful trade. So we should be able to shove this one into a reset, and that also should theoretically secure the that second rotation of grubs, even though it's first rotation for us, but second rotation spawning. Beautiful. And that's a play right there that is absolutely huge. Massive tempo sync from the Hecarim's behalf. Okay, so now we have our rower. Beautiful. We don't have our ultimate for another 80 seconds here. Game is very open-ended. I think the one strong member on our team is the Graves. Jinx is 1 and 4. So we need to be very, very vigilant of what this Graves is doing. We do ping danger here. We don't really want a play to happen here. LeBlanc does have a wave of move. So typically when we get to rower and mercs, this is where we can kind of just play ping pong with waves. We have enough wave clear and durability to kind of just chill and tempo reset if need be. Good flicking through the cards, looking for red cards here. Trying to go for high value cues through the LeBlanc onto the wave. Nice little hover from the Graves. Hecarim on top side. Okay, so Kennen definitely not having the greatest game. Leveraging our 3 grubs here. Not really too much else we can do. We don't have ultimate anyway. We can't make a dive play bot. Dragon coming up soon. Ult up in 20 seconds. So the mindset really right now is really just make sure we're adaptable and stay as healthy as possible. So when our ultimate comes back up, we can kind of complement our team here. So it'll be interesting if he decides to recall and stay on the map here. He does see Graves hovering bot, but he doesn't have a ton of resources. So it looks like he's trying to recall. He sees some heavy trading on bot side. Great camera panning, good map awareness. Goes for an ultimate. Bit of a questionable R here. I'm on the fence about this one. I mean, look, it's okay in the sense that you are playing in accordance to your jungler's location and complementing your Graves, but it looks like the play was kind of low percentage in the first place, given the proximity to the tower. So it does get base stopped. A bit of a tempo sink here. Okay, so good. Look at those pings here, guys. Super mega aware that LeBlanc is in the area. We don't want our team to make a play right now. We're off tempo. So does try to ping back. His team doesn't necessarily listen, but Thresh does land him out. And that's a really good heads up ping there from DOPA. Great communication, giving his team the heads up that he doesn't want a play to happen, knowing that the LeBlanc has that kind of move and tempo. So not really a lot we can do. We don't have ultimate. Can't really make a play. We've got to get back on midwave, just keep up our farm here. Trying to make it difficult for LeBlanc to move into the river here. Beautiful. Okay, so Not really much going on for a while now. No dragon, no rift coming up for another about 2 minutes. Does ping that LeBlanc could be roaming topside. As you can see, guys, his communication, his pings is very on point. Now that we're at a wave clear breakpoint, we can really just not interact with this guy. We don't really, we can just play ping pong with the waves. Graves is on 2 items, which is worth noting. He has a boatload of damage. Trying to stay out of vision, getting back on this next mid wave as it arrives. Okay, so always on this next mid wave, posturing up very aggressively. So our Q goes through the entirety of the wave. Red card, another Q, boom. LeBlanc is just now left reacting to waves. Trying to punish LeBlanc for W in the wave. Shadowing our jungler here. Blue buff up. We can take that. Now, we do actually have a little bit of move here. We have first move over the LeBlanc, so we can actually get first mover's advantage. Turn this into a bit of a man advantage play. Don't have ultimate, but we can shadow around. Graves gets the jump onto the Hecarim. Beautiful. Instantly looking back on mid wave. But then this guy randomly re-engages. Boom. Lovely. Great camera panning here. Doesn't know that he has TP, so he could TP flank the Ezreal here. Decides that it looks like the Jinx is probably going to be able to win that by herself. Chooses not to and doesn't really want to sack farm. As a TF, it's very important that we're keeping our farm nice and high. Not afraid to leverage our gold card there to take a nice little short trade to proc that electrocute. Top lane tower now down. So this is where the map's going to be opening up a little bit. Gives us some more options with our ultimate. Graves recalling. LeBlanc roams bot. Now, this is actually a really bad roam from LeBlanc, in my opinion, because she's actually going to lose mid tower. So we're happy to take that trade. If Jinx dies, that's fine. We get mid tower. We're very happy. We do have TP, so we can overstay if we really want to. Lane assignments are going to get swapped up, so it looks like we're moving into the side lane. Looks like he's willing to sack a bit of tempo here, knowing that, again, he still has his TP available. Jinx is going to redeploy mid out of base. Our goal here is to really try and make someone react here. So try and drag this LeBlanc around the map, leveraging our strong amounts of wave clear here. Do have our ultimate available. Okay, so we ping the rift here. We've made Ezreal react bot, which means that it's basically our rift. It's highly unlikely the enemy are going to be contesting rift here, right? Because Ezreal and Braum are bot, there's no way. So we can immediately just redeploy immediately onto bot. No reason for us to hover mid. Sometimes if you're uncertain if the enemy are going to be contesting the rift, you would kind of shadow mid, see what's going on. But yeah, it doesn't really need to do that. Can immediately deploy bot. This is where you're going to be a little bit careful of getting dove, but we did see the Hecarim, and we can kind of just wave clear, and they're not really amazing at diving us with the Braum. So we're fine just to clear waves and play weak side right now. It's not really our time to make a play. Just clearing those waves, keeping it neat and tidy. So now we just got to wait for our Graves to get in position here. Looking to scout with those Qs. You can see if the Taste of Blood procs as well to see if they're in the area. Clears a bit of vision. And we see Hecarim and LeBlanc on top side. So we're under basically no threat here. Braum, Ezreal don't have any threat onto us. We see Jinx and Thresh hovering in between the waves since there's not much for them to do. Again, we do have TP and we do have ultimate. We don't really want to be moving mid here. I think it's better for Jinx to be mid here. Just scouting the bushes with our Q. Not proccing the Taste of Blood, so we know they're not really in the area here. Okay, there's Ezreal. And the enemy are quite sloppy with their lane assignments. This is giving us a lot of priority around mid, which is great. Keeping distance. Braum could be in the bush. Braum hasn't showed elsewhere on the map. And so this is where we just got to be very adaptable and aware of what our team is doing. And we know that we can create man advantages because the Ezreal's on bot. He can't respond to our play. So just nice little hovering, shadowing. Dragon is the next neutral objective here. Graves does get one shot. So not a lot we can do. Notice how patient we are. We're not forcing any plays. We're keeping it neat and tidy. We need to be willing just to wait for our team to get in position. This is the thing, the challenge with TF. It's very limited with what you can do individually. It's all about playing it according to your teammate's location and understanding the win conditions. Always trying to scout with Qs there, trying to force them out of the bushes. Graves dead still for a little bit. Not really much we can do here. We do have a metric ton of control through mid. We've got control walls on both sides and plenty of vision. That's the benefit of having our AD carry support mid here. I don't really know why the enemy aren't swapping. Maybe because they felt as though they were going to concede pressure mid anyway. Okay, there's the Ezreal mid. Beautiful. Braun was trying to look for a sneaky play there, maybe with the Hecarim. It's hard to say. Okay. Kennen's grouping. We can definitely contest this dragon, looking to get this next mid-wave out. We have her ultimate just in case the enemy try to contest the dragon here. Trying to find that Braum. Beautiful. Looks like lane assignments are swapping up a little bit. Renekton getting into the side lane. We're fine with this. Trying to get in range to get the tower. Beautiful. We know Hecarim's not here. We're not afraid to fight. Looks like a bit of a scrap. Kennen TPing in. Play the front to back. Good patience on our ultimate usage there. Very nice. So a bit of an opportunistic fight. We also have the risk, so we can keep shoving here. Very, very good patience. Tries to look for a bit of an ultimate play to kill that Ezreal. Beautiful. And now we can actually secure probably mid tier 2 and bot tier 2. So this was a very, very clean, very, very clean game. Very poised, very patient. So what I like about this VOD, guys, is that, yeah, even though we weren't able to get into the depths of the mid game, it showed discipline of when not to make a play. It showed high quality pings. And what it also showed was a very high level of matchup understanding, good quality fundamentals, and good quality resets. And this is a game that I feel as though a lot of Twisted Fates would really panic. And it's all those small things. Being hyper aware of your jungler's location, understanding where to make the next play, understanding when you need to recall, being very disciplined in the mid game, understanding when it's not your really time to make a play. So let's go ahead and take a look at another DOPA VOD. Now we're going to be taking a look at DOPA's Orianna. So this one here is a pretty high elo lobby. We got a lot of Grandmasters and Challengers here. He's actually versing another LeBlanc, but this LeBlanc's actually opted in for Electric Ignite. He's opted in for Airy and Bone Plating on Orianna. Again, not an easy matchup for Orianna. It's a matchup that is inherently heavy trading, very micro-intensive, space-intensive. He's also got a very low threat composition into the LeBlanc. I mean, I guess you have the silence of the Cho'Gath and you got the W from the Poppy, but it's not an overly high CC composition, which is definitely very easy for LeBlanc to handle. The enemy have a lot of threat. They have a Camel, they have a Kindred. So this is a game that's really going to test DOPA's threat assessment. So again, let's get into the details. I'm very intrigued to see how this game plays out. I've not seen this VOD before. We're going to really kind of go in raw and try to analyze all the small details. So chooses not to go for a level 1 ward. They do go for a defensive one on top side though, which should spot out potential Kindred level 1 invades. So the major advantage we're working with into LeBlanc here is that we have TP into her LeBlanc, into her TP, Ignite, and what we're going to be looking for is good quality spacing and really trying to contest the shove and see if we can get this level 2 first here. So good spacing there. Punishes the high cooldown of LeBlanc's W. Beautiful. So LeBlanc's trying to bait out Orianna's Q. As you can see, he's kind of holding it there to really make her sweat. Beautiful spacing on the W there. So great utilization of the lower cooldown of the Q to kind of punish LeBlanc's level 1. Great spacing. The bone plating as well definitely helps level 1 with that confidence of being able to step up. So get the level 2 first. Beautiful little QW. Off to a beautiful start. Now we don't know Kindred's early pathing here. Not afraid to heavy trade. Wouldn't surprise me if he tries to go for maybe some sort of early Darkseal refill base. Could be getting level 3 ganked here. A little bit very spicy positioning. I'm interested to see where he wards, if he wards here, because I'd be kind of shitting myself. LeBlanc getting very, very, very low. There it is. And LeBlanc's just too low. Kindred can't really do anything here. So beautiful spacing and beautiful trading there from DOPA. He could maybe stay for one more here and leverage his TP, but decides to go for the recall, stay nice and healthy for the invade, goes back for the Darkseal and an early pot to make sure he is adaptable and can complement his Graves, which I respect. Very adaptable reset there. Goes for the 2 points in W. I wonder if he's going to go straight W max or just the 3 points W into Q max. That's typically what I recommend for Orianna's 3 points W into Q max. automatically shoving the wave and hovering his jungler here. Very good heads up play, keeping the LeBlanc busy and adapting to the chaos. A lot of Orianas would be like, well, I don't want a 2v2. I don't want to fight the LeBlanc, but you kind of have to. Otherwise, your Graves is going to be in a lot of trouble. So very adaptable, willing to trade HP to complement his Graves here, ensuring that his Graves can get access to the scuttle. Great spacing. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. A little bit messy, but we should be able to kill the Kindred here. Doesn't overcompensate and just lets his team die. I love that. Really, really, really good discipline. So there's a lot going on here I want to kind of talk about. There's a lot of small details. So first things first. What I love about this first reset is that he could theoretically stay here for another one, milk his TP. It will ruin his tempo. LeBlanc's going to guarantee have first move into this kind of topside jungle, and that will make it very hard for Graves to invade. But he knows that his Graves is invading, and the Graves wants to invade to punish Kindred's kind of inefficient early gank onto the wasted time onto the Orianna kind of gank. So this is a really, really nice adaptable reset that's going to kind of make his jungler's life a hell of a lot easier. He also hard shoves the waves immediately so that, again, he has that adaptability to complement his jungler. Then not only does he move in, but he actually zones the LeBlanc, is willing to utilize his HP here just to try and, again, thwart off the LeBlanc and allow Graves to do the scuttle. So great complementary gameplay there. Then again, tries to make sure that he can put his body in the area, but not in a way that he's going to, die. Keeps his distance, spaces out, doesn't compensate for the low targets, really basically protects himself at all times. This is a great example of the protect yourself at all mindset. Doesn't flash forward, doesn't do anything too fancy, and tries to disengage here. So a lot of chaos, but every single decision he made there made sense. And he knows that if he's not complementing his jungler, then the game is going to get very difficult. Beautiful spacing there. Camille gets a little bit hot-headed and gets a nice little kill. So I respect that. He's still in a lot of trouble here, but LeBlanc can't really stick around either, though, because LeBlanc is also very low. So as long as we're intentional with our spacing here, we should be able to get this wave very freely. And we can kind of hypothesize that LeBlanc is going to be going for a recall here. Kindred on that bot side, so we know where the Kindred is. Very chaotic early game start. So it wouldn't surprise me if he tries to hard shove this into a reset rather than slow build. LeBlanc overstayed. LeBlanc actually roamed bot, which is crazy. I'm surprised LeBlanc didn't go for a reset there, but we hard shove into a reset. Beautiful. So LeBlanc did roam. We are up in tempo. Goes for the tier 1 boost for spacing and the refill, which I love. Way too fast pace of a game to go for something like tier. And it's not even a good tier game anyway because, it's just too slow. These games are very fast-paced. You need to be going something more fast-paced here. Wouldn't surprise me if he's just going straight Ludens. So beautiful. Comes back. Kindred 3-0 already. We know Kindred's still on the map on bot side, so we're not really under a ton of threat. We should theoretically have a pretty significant XP lead onto this LeBlanc because LeBlanc has ditched a shit ton of waves to complement her jungler. Yeah, so we're up probably nearly a full level here, which is great for us. We should be able to annihilate this guy in the isolated 1v1. So what I'm going to be looking for is good quality spacing, leveraging our range advantage, making sure we're using minions to block potential E's. And as long as we kind of leverage our range advantage, we should be completely fine. Beautiful job holding the wave here. It wouldn't surprise me if he unbreaks this freeze to play for a bit of prio because neutral objectives are coming up. So I like the temporary freeze. We'll see if he shoves. Typically, I would tell a lot of people here to actually shove instead of freeze because you need that adaptability for grubs. So does heavy trade here. Tries to leverage level 6 advantage. Wouldn't surprise me if he maybe even uses R. Yeah, so this is a bit of an awkward scenario because we are in a great position in the 1v1, but as you can see, we're kind of at odds. Do we want to play for the 1v1 or do we want to complement our team? So let's break this one down. I'm on the fence about this. So I like the initial pull here because, again, Grub's not coming up for 30 seconds. Kindred's on the bot side. There's no rush. So I think denying a little bit of farm, utilizing this wave state to get a good quality trade is great. But then what I would probably recommend a lot of people do is, okay, you've taken a few good trades. Now you either let this wave crash under the tower or just start AoEing it to try and get maybe some sort of a slow build back in towards LeBlanc. Now, maybe his thought process here is, I'm in such a good position, level 6 to level 4, that it'd be silly of me to kind of let LeBlanc back into the lane because I'm just so goddamn far ahead. So, maybe playing devil's advocate on my perspective, he's just really trying to leverage that strength in the 1v1. So as you can see, it looks like he was maybe trying to elongate the trade with an R there. But yeah, as you can see, really trying to heavy trade and utilize his advantage here. And he can still theoretically hover just in case, but LeBlanc comes back in, utilizes W, and we're able to turn this into a really, really nice solo kill there, knowing that LeBlanc just can't deal with us with this nice little lead. But it does come at a price, right? The price is that our team is going to kind of struggle on top side and we're not really going to be able to move. So he's kind of putting all the eggs in his basket. He's kind of, in this case, playing for himself rather than playing for the team. And that's okay. Maybe he felt as though he was so far ahead that he can carry this game. Hard to say. But he's made that decision. So he gets a beautiful little recall. LeBlanc has 14 CS by 6 minutes because of all those shenanigans. We are super far ahead. Very, very, very far ahead. So this is a game where it's on DOPA to carry. Top lane struggling in the 1v1, bot lane struggling in the 2v2, jungle 0-3. This is a game that's all on DOPA. So it'll be very interesting to see how he kind of turns this early lead into a bit of a carry. And if he can carry, I don't even know if he wins this game. So let's see if he can turn this into a win. So we can kind of hypothesize that Kindred's going to be on the top side and might be a bit of a trade in neutrals. Does ping back. LeBlanc does have move. This LeBlanc has also shown tendencies to be very roam oriented. So placing our vision on the bot side because that's where our jungler is. Shadowing onto the bot side here. Trying to get a bit of a trade here on the way through. Zoning this LeBlanc. Good quality deep ward on the Raptors here. We should have first move to the wave. Be able to get a bit of prio. I'd just be happy keeping neutral state here. Keeping neutral state allows us to zone the LeBlanc. Not really much is happening on the map right now. We don't need to brute force prio. Beautiful spacing there. We have bone plating that we can leverage. Excellent. Not afraid to heavy trade. Excellent. Really great utilization of the lead there. Nothing overly fancy though. So he's gone 2 points W into Qmax, which is interesting. Typically you see the 3 points W into Qmax. Don't know if that's intentional or not. Probably is, thinking of DOPA. Speaking of DOPA. So we have a lot of control. We've got beautiful vision. Poking under tower. And now our goal is to basically relieve pressure from the rest of the map by just exerting a metric trying to control. And we're actually relieving pressure from our bot lane and our top lane because this pressure is just absolutely relentless and they're not going to be able to ignore us. This is also allowing Graves to get good quality invades onto the Raptors here. So we've used all our mana. Because we haven't gone tier, we are burning through a shit ton of mana here. Does have TP. It'll be interesting if he TPs. Interesting TP. Wants to keep up the pressure. Doesn't want to allow LeBlanc to be able to shove and move, so comes back preemptively. Does get a Mercs, which is very good for the LeBlanc matchup. Does spot the Kindred on bot side, so now we know where the Kindred is, thanks to our beautiful deep quality ward there on that Raptors. So we know that Kindred's going to be, on the red and Krugs. So now we can kind of lean a little bit on that top side and we know we're going to be nice and safe. So this is where we can just really pressure relentlessly. We know Kimel's on top side. Lulu's not roaming. We can kind of do whatever the hell we want right now. So great spacing. Nice little fadeaway QW there. This LeBlanc is getting absolutely annihilated. I love the Q placement is there. If he goes back, we can just, get the ult into a finish solo kill. So LeBlanc can't really lane anymore. We're so far ahead. We can just basically dictate the entire lane. So Kindred trying to come through. We're trying to bait for our Poppy here. Very good threat assessment, knowing that Poppy's in the area. Lulu doesn't have 6. So this here is one of those plays that is so subtle, and a lot of people would think it's not even intentional. So let's break this one down. So DOPA knows Kindred's in the area, right? Kindred literally just finished Dragon. He even spotted Kindred earlier on the ward. We know Kindred's in the area, and we know LeBlanc is dead. But instead of just heavy leaning on the top side, what he's doing, he's relieving pressure from the map. And so what he's doing, he knows that he's super strong and Kindred can't kill him because Poppy's in the area. So this is a play where we don't know if it's going to materialize in a kill or not, but either way, it's going to waste a lot of Kindred's time. We may even be able to burn Kindred's ultimate. And even if we don't kill Kindred, we're sapping his tempo, we're wasting his time, we're creating potential opportunities for our team. This is one of those plays that I call kind of walking on the tightrope, where when you have a lead on champions like Victor, Syndra, Orianna, you don't win by shoving and roaming around the map and like the previous VOD with TF. We win via drawing pressure to us and being this kind of giant pressure sponge. And that's what DOPA does very, very effectively. He's trying to keep up his tempo, get good quality vision, spot out the Kindred, waste Kindred's time. That is how you kind of win games as these sorts of champions. So ends up going for the Blackfire Torch build path. So he's not going Looting, he's going Blackfire Torch. Does have a massive lead onto this LeBlanc. Doesn't have Flash though, which is worth noting. So what I'd be really looking for here as an Orianna is, again, continuing to establish good quality vision, continuously hard shoving / slow building waves into LeBlanc, keeping eyes on LeBlanc, and really making sure that we have first move into any fight happening in the river. So LeBlanc is missing. There's not really much she can do, though, on bot side since bot are full HP, so not even bothering to ping. Make this LeBlanc react to waves. We know Kindred is in the area. Good spacing. We need to be heavy leaning on the bot side or backing off to complement our Graves here. So maybe thinking that Kindred was going to go for a vertical into the jungle. I don't know what his thought process is here. Just trying to do a bit of scouting. Knows that he can't pressure onto tower with Kindred in the area with no flash. So does have to respect a little bit and give LeBlanc some free farm. Good quality vision. Now we can heavy lean on that bot side. Playing around our Q cooldown. Next rotation of Grubs coming up very soon in about 30 seconds. Graves in base. We see Kindred on bot side. So we can just chill now. We're not really under a ton of threat. We know where Kindred is. We're trying to get a bit of chunk. Looks like we're trying to make it difficult for Kindred to move into the bot side. Here we go. Might be able to get a good chunk on LeBlanc. Beautiful QW. And yeah, it should be a free rotation of Grubs. We know Kindred was on that bot side. Wouldn't surprise me if we just heavy lean. So it looks like he's trying to ping for assistance and bait for the Poppy. So he actually pinged for assistance. You know, his Poppy's in the area here. He's trying to waste Kindred's time. So I love this. Instead of just moving into the river, just trying to keep this LeBlanc and Kindred preoccupied. Being very relentless with those airy procs, autos, and E's. So he's kind of got this guy pinned under tower. It's an interesting roam angle here. I don't know if I fully agree with this roam. I mean, look, they're kind of heavy trading. The mental stack is maybe a little bit overwhelmed, but quite honestly, I think just keeping mid-pressured and keeping up your tempo would be way better play here than this roam. So it looks like he's trying to actually swap the lane assignments. So a very interesting macro decision. So he knows that Corky's struggling to get a recall. So what he's done is he's actually just said, all right, I'll cover bot. You can get a recall, Corky, and then you can just go cover mid for me. What a fascinating play. Very interesting. So let's really try to analyze this one. I mean, look, I guess playing devil's, just sort of analyze it. If he were to stay mid, he could probably deny another wave. Maybe he could get another plate. He could also shove into a reset, but it would come at the cost of Corky missing farm on bot, and maybe bot lane tower would actually die because bot lane tower is really low. So instead, what he does, he recognizes that because he doesn't want the bot lane tower to die, and he wants to allow this Corky to get a free recall and actually just not lose too much farm, he swaps the lane assignment, knowing that there's no neutral objectives coming up anytime soon, so he can actually just kind of chill here and probably just buy time for his TB to come back up. He can overstay, right? There's no reason why he can't stay on the map for another 50 seconds and buy time for his TB to come back up. So a fascinating macro play. I never really would have made that. I guess, yeah, the benefit is that you keep up the towers, you make your Corky's life a lot easier, and you basically just give your Corky free farm, access to farm that he wouldn't really have gotten. So shoves the wave here and gets another free recall. Very interesting. So decides to adapt, sees that Tristan is out of position. We actually have a bit of a man advantage play. We can definitely move here, and we have ultimate. Why not? So I think that play, it's a very viable play. I mean, it does protect bot tower. It does give your Corky a reset window. It's not really the play that I would make, especially since you're the Fed member. I would have expected more selfish macro. I would have expected just to let your bot lane tower die, but yeah, not giving the enemy first tower and protecting the feature strength is a very smart play. So, wow, very, very interesting. Looks like they're trying to race for the first tower here. So maybe he's putting a lot of emphasis on those feature strength, and they do get the first tower. Wow. Yeah, quite honestly, I'm a bit shocked at that macro play. I've never really seen that play before. Okay. So Dragon coming up. We definitely can contest it. I think if we're grouped together, we can fight. I mean, Orianna and Graves together right now, comparatively to that LeBlanc Kindred, I think we're significantly stronger. Tristana's not really mega spiked yet. We can definitely fight it. So Dragon coming up here. Does deploy immediately back mid. Corki is off tempo. Corki does not have TP. Corki does a barrier. So here we go. Looks like we may be contesting. We need to make sure we're waiting for our Corki. We may have to get one more mid wave. Yeah, so it looks like they definitely want to fight it. They're willing to fight it. And I think they can win team fights. I mean, Poppy's very good into a lot of their champions. We have our completed item. We're way stronger than LeBlanc. We can fight this for sure, front to back. Cho'Gath is also quite good in the front to back. Good positioning. Tried to follow up on the chain CC. We burn the flash. Great ball position here. If they walk in further, we can get a beautiful 3-man ultimate. Excellent ball positioning there. Peel back, play around cooldowns. Poppy goes in, finds a split target. Excellent. I mean, very, very good team fighting. Great positioning. Very nice. Okay, so lane assignments do need to be swapped up. We need to be getting into the side lane. We have TP. Rift Herald coming up in 30 seconds. Corki needs to be mid if we're going to be fighting Rift Herald. We actually beat LeBlanc in the side lane this game. So we're not afraid to really side lane at all, in my opinion. So we can shove this in. We need to reset to replenish our resources. Interesting to see what he does here. It wouldn't surprise me if he deploys mid and then keeps his options open. Again, knowing that Rift Herald is spawning. So it looks like he deploys mid, pings on the way. It looks like he's been very vocal that he wants to fight this, knows that they can win team fights. If you know that you can win team fights and the bot wave's already been attended to, there's no reason why we can't just be here. We have plenty of time to respond to the bot tier 2 or the bot wave later because there's no bot tier 1. So beautiful. We can instantly play with this team fight. Just pull the rift, in my opinion. Here we go. Trying to force them back. Pings back. Here we go. And then we can, worst case scenario, if LeBlanc does keep shoving bot, we can always TP. Trying to utilize his man advantage to make a play here. Trying to follow up on the Cho'Gath. Trying to get his bang for buck value for redeploying on this top side. Very interesting. Okay, good chunk. And Cho'Gath can just go bot now. So they should be able to secure the rift here. Excellent. So pretty stock standard macro. He's just leveraging his stronger team fighting. Knows that he can, if he's grouped with his team, he's in a very good position. Awkward position here. May need to flash. Does not have ultimate from before, so he needs to disengage. So get the hell out of here. Okay, so a very messy scenario. We need to get back into the side lane. I'm not a massive fan of the ultimate that he did on the Kindred on top side. I think it would have been probably a little bit better to hold and be a little bit more conservative for the potential team fight. Needs to get back into the side. So we'll fast forward a little bit here. So does, deploy straight back into the side. Now, this is where the macro game for a lot of immobile mage players get a bit confusing. People get very overwhelmed. And so at a high level, the reference point that I would be following right now is I just want to be there for major team fights. So whenever the next neutral objective is spawning, make sure we get there nice and early, create those front-to-back scenarios. And when neutral objectives aren't up, I'm just farming up, to the best of my ability, utilizing this side lane farm. So the next objective is probably going to be Dragon. Working towards a Leandri second item, which is interesting. I guess they have high HP with the Camille and the Kindred. Maybe he's anticipating that the fights are going to be very elongated, because his comp isn't very burst-oriented, which does make sense, and the enemy are very slippery. So yeah, redeploying back onto the side lane. We need to be a little bit careful into the Camille here. Graves pathing on bot side, so we are getting a little bit of a shadow from our Graves. Waiting for Poppy to redeploy, hoping with the blue buff. Grab the blue, excellent. I don't think looking for the play onto Camille makes sense. Way too slippery. Get back onto the wave. Keep up a farm. Nice and patient. We don't really need to force anything. We'll just wait for the next dragon. So we'll fast forward a little bit here. Just shadowing in between the waves, establishing vision, waiting for the waves to get shoved out, not overextending. We can't catch that bot wave without waiting for them to show. Cho'Gath just minimizing on top side. Beautiful. Very poised. This is what I am noticing with DOPA. Very patient mid-game, not over-forcing anything, just playing in accordance to his reference points, guys. We saw this in the TF game as well before. Understanding when it is his time to make a play and when it's not his time to make a play. So Poppy's doing a good job of hovering, creating a bit of space. Adakine is coming up in 30 seconds, but Dragon also coming up. So what I'm going to be looking for here is him looping back through mid to try and redeploy and get a bit of control with the team. He can't really be coming in from the flank here. He needs to be coming in through mid. So maybe I'm assuming what he's going to do is catch one more wave here and then redeploy through mid. So tries to ping back on mid. He doesn't want his team to find mid. He needs to catch one more bot wave here. LeBlanc on top side. LeBlanc doesn't have TP. So here we go. We need to redeploy through mid. Beautiful. This is El Clasico immobile control mage macro. Moving together as a team. Perfect. Very, very good. Ideally, we'd get that maybe that next mid wave and then move in. But Dragon is already up. Yep, back on mid wave. Ideally, I'd want to see some assist pings if I'm going to be a little bit critical. Our team should be on this next mid wave. And it looks like they've just decided to give the Dragon. They can't contest it. But they do want to contest the Adakine. So here we go. Wouldn't surprise me if he TPs. Beautiful. Swap the blue trinket. Excellent to scout because they can't have anyone they're struggling to face check here. We're going to scout with our Q. Holy moly. Big blunder from DOPA. I mean, what I would have liked to see here is use that Q to scout. So just go over here, use the Q to scout. It looks like he was super confident on the enemy starting the Adakine. So a bit of a blunder there from DOPA. Not a very common mistake from DOPA. That's the sort of mistake you wouldn't really see him make. So a bit sloppy. So if I'm going to get critical, if this was my coaching client, I would have said all the way back here, I would have preferred him assist ping mid. So they're contesting this next mid wave together. This would have allowed it a little bit easier for them to contest control. And then, like I said, just maybe, use the Q to scout. So a bit of a blunder there. Their team try to go for the fight here. They do push them off the Adakine. Does get second item. Doesn't look like anyone's going to be getting Adakine. He doesn't look too pleased in the cam here, unfortunately. Okay, so this is where the game's getting quite spicy. So I think the identity of their comp is that they can kind of win team fights, but they're struggling to get the team fights. And because the enemy are quite slippery and mobile, and because their bot lane are getting a lot of control through mid, they're struggling to control the map. So now we're in this tug of war for control around Adakine, right? And so typically what we want to do is constantly try to shove out mid wave. We're trying to prevent the enemy from doing Adakine, and it looks like we're not going to be able to prevent them from doing so. So it wouldn't surprise me if he maybe shoves mid wave and then moves top. He has to trade that Adakine off, unfortunately. And quite honestly, all of this was DOPA's fault. He was the win con, and he made that mistake around that bot side tri-bush. Okay, so we'll fast forward here. Gets mid shove, moves immediately back onto top, which would make sense. Lovely. Get some blood petals on the way through. Establishing vision. We should be able to get this wave and the next mid wave. We also have blue trinket. Surprised he doesn't get the next top wave there, to be honest. I think that was a little bit sloppy, but okay. Doesn't feel safe enough. And then redeploys mid to get a bit of control with the team. So this is typically what you want to be doing. Catch top waves, shallow top waves, rotate through mid, get a bit of control with your team, catch anyone that's getting greedy vision. We're able to turn this into a few picks here just through good quality position. And this is just a mobile control mage fundamentals. This is mid-game fundamentals 101. Great fundamentals from DOPA here. Okay, Tristana comes through. Have to burn flash. Big flash there. We really need our flash into this composition with the dive that they have, with the Camille and the LeBlanc and the Tristana. So that's really going to bite us in the arse here. So no neutrals coming up for a while. We have a bit of downtime. Tristana is absolutely popping off. Well played to this Tristana. Very, very fed on 3 items. This Trist Lulu is a big problem. Okay. So, Corky's just trying to shove out sides. Next neutral, probably going to be the next Baron coming up in about 1:40 here. And what we're really looking for is group front-to-back team fights. So fast forward. We're on 2.5 items. Baron is coming up as well. I'm going to grab this blue buff here. Bot wave way too deep for us to contest, so we need to go through mid and share a bit of XP with our Corky and trying to establish a bit of control with our team here. This is a very awkward part of the game. Nice little preemptive QW. Looks like the enemy are getting a lot of control. Okay, so we have a few options here. I think we should contest this next dragon. I think that's our only real win con. I think if we're not contesting these front to back team fights, we're going to lose anyway because Camille's is going to become a problem. So Here we go. Pinging assistance on mid-wave. Beautiful. Is exactly what we need to do. This way we can contest that mid shove. We can have first move into the river here. So we need to shove in mid and then we can move into the river. Beautiful. Use our Q to scout. Excellent. And this is where we can control those choke points. So what I'm going to be really looking for is good quality placement of our Q. We may have to cover one more mid-wave here, but Dragon is spawning very soon. The enemy are actually doing the right play. They're dragging us out of the river by starting Baron. So we have blue trinket here, so we can scout. Yep, beautiful. They're still on it. Front to back, front to back, front to back. This is great positioning for us as an Orianna. Oh, I love that ultimate, actually, forcing out the flash of the Lulu. Because now they're split. They're out of position. Very good. Kindred's out of position. Next target. Force them back mid. And typically in these scenarios, you want to go back mid-wave. Camille's still bot. Interesting. So we see they're chunked. We're just starting this. And we do have Cho'Gath R. Cho'Gath can secure it. So we're happy to flip. It's objectively not even a flip with the Cho'Gath. We can play this. So very, very sketchy. Next target, next target, next target. Great Poppy ultimate there onto the Camille. So it's hard for me to read how deep DOPA is thinking. Is he contemplating that Poppy has R and Cho'Gath has R? Is he just thinking the game is inherently, we have no other choice because Camille was splitting and we had to flip it? I don't know. If we're going to get really technical, there's a lot of reasons why this is actually an objectively good Baron start. We know that the Lulu's out of the fight, so it's a 4v5. We know that our comp needs the enemy to come into us, right? Because that's the way our composition functions, because we have no engage. Camille split pushing on bot side, so we have to drag Camille here and force that TP. And we know that we have Poppy R for good disengage, and we also know we have Cho'Gath E. So there's a lot of variables that are going on here that actually make this a very sophisticated Baron take. There's a lot of options. We could have also pulled it and went back mid and then pulled Dragon. But again, 4v5, it's probably the best fight we're going to get, considering that the game is really quite difficult. So playing the fight well, just going on to the nearest target, front to back, front to back, front to back, tries to peel back, and we're getting a beautiful, beautiful series of kills here. So any opportunity to trade kills from behind like this is excellent, and we get a few little sneaky kills. Now, we do have TP, so we can kind of mess up our tempo here. Control the platform. Excellent. Excellent. Beautiful. Okay, very good. Very, very, very good. If we can buy time for our Corgi to get to a few items, it's going to really bolster up our chances to win those front-to-back team fights. So great reset here. Does stay for a little bit longer. Needs a little bit more gold here for our... I'm assuming he's going to be going for a Crypt Bloom. Does stay on the map here, which is interesting. We know that we can fight this because LeBlanc is dead, so we turn that into a dragon, into a nice little recall, and we finish our Void Stuff. We go for Void Stuff over Crypt Bloom, okay? So same thing. We need to be going through mid together, establishing a little bit of control as our team, conserving our blue trinket just in case to thwart off potential Baron starts. And so really what I'd be doing here is pinging assistance mid and getting our team excited about contesting mid shove. Now, the positive of this stage of the game here is that Camille does not have TP. And because Camille doesn't have TP, we don't really have to worry about that Camille split push. So this is actually very annoying for the enemy. They basically have to fight us front to back. So Camille no R. Sloppy pick. Sloppy positioning from the Graves there. Very interesting. So we do have Cho'Gath E. So if we know Camille has no R, good scouting. I mean, I would fight this. We have Poppy R, we have Poppy W, we have Cho'Gath 8. Here we go. Here we go, here we go, we go. Wow. Very interesting. So we managed to steal the Baron there. Very opportunistic. I think DOPA's mindset was just trying to make him sweat for the Baron. I don't think he was really thinking about stealing it. He's just trying to do the best he could. So trying to play on the edge, make them come into him, doing the best he can. So great spacing, great threat assessment. So fast forwarding a little bit. So look, he's done an excellent job of making them sweat for that Baron. And now the game is getting to the point where it's evening out. Our Corki's now, getting back into the game. The Graves are scaling quite nicely. And now the game is really just going to come down to team fights, probably around Dragons. We have Baron here. The enemy do have a lot of engage, so I definitely would not want to 1-3-1. We can temporarily 1-3-1 because Camille is dead. But I would definitely want to turn this into a 4-1 if possible. I guess we have disengage with the Corki and the Poppy though. And at this level of play, people's threat assessment is a little bit more sophisticated. So fast forwarding. LeBlanc on mid. We have Poppy and Graves hovering us. Personally, my personal opinion is I would be rotating mid and then playing mid to top and playing 2 lanes, but it looks like he's quite confident to play the 3 lanes here. So here we go. Just camping in the jungle. This is better. Yeah, I think going on to mid here and playing mid to top would make a little bit more sense. Good. Cho'Gath gets engaged upon. We know Camille's split. This guy's very tanky. We can definitely collapse. So basically, we're just free-flowing. There's not really a lot of sophisticated macro here. We're just trying to be their group for those major team fights. And the major concept that we're just going to be following here is trying to establish as much mid control as possible, keeping our distance, play around our Poppy, disengage with the R and the W. Fast forwarding. We'll just fast forward a little bit here because not much is really happening. Tristana just jumped away, so they're very split, very opportunistic potential engage window here. Can't quite get the engage, unfortunately. Next dragon coming up relatively soon. We know that LeBlanc is topside with no TP, so we're really trying to brute force a play. So look, none of this is very DOPA specific. We're just understanding that the enemy is split, and we're trying to engage with our limited composition, or limited engage here to try and punish those man advantages. So dragon coming up here, insta reset, and again, what we're going to be looking for here is shoving through mid and trying to play for that last team fight here. So we'll take a look at how he plays this. Corki does get picked off before the next dragon, which is absolute pain in the ass. Is Corki getting picked in the worst possible time? But we do know Camille has no R, and we know that Poppy has no R either. This is a tough one. Tries to pull out the dragon here. We need to create a front to back. I don't even know if this one is really winnable. Our front to back is very good. Beautiful chunk on the LeBlanc here. So he's trying to keep his distance. He knows that it's going to be a very hard fight. If Poppy had R, it'd probably be a little bit easier, and unfortunately, we have to give. It is what it is. Welcome to solo queue. Even in, what is this, Chinese Grandmaster, people are making pretty basic errors, and welcome to solo queue, guys. Your teammates are going to make big errors, and you just have to adapt. So he doesn't compensate. He protects himself at all times, and he knows that that wasn't Sol. You know, it's okay. We can stall out the game a little bit longer and wait for the next Baron. Oh, beautiful ultimate. Onto the Kindred, onto the Tristana. Tristana, no W. Graves getting onto that back line. Unlucky. Great positioning, but unfortunately, yeah, Camille's getting a little bit too strong, and it looks like that might be it. So we try our best, try to defend the inhib. They got inhib. They might have one last team fight in them here, so we'll see what we can do. Baron is up. Here we go. We'll see if we can get another team fight out here. Definitely not going to be easy. Camille is dead from that overstay. So it wouldn't surprise me if we just start the Baron on spawn, create the front to back. Camille's dead for 5 seconds, or try and make something happen in this little 5-second window. So LeBlanc in the area. LeBlanc is split. LeBlanc is on the other side. We should maybe look for a chase. It's exactly what's happening. If we can get this LeBlanc pick, this would be massive. Huge. If we can get this pick, this is so big. This is our way back into the game. Oh, man. Tristana does the right thing, just shoves out mid, puts a lot of pressure onto us because now we have to defend the base. Tristana can end. Oh, no. This Tristana is really good. This Tristana is not only good mechanically, but just really good macro. And Tristana noticing that we're chasing LeBlanc just goes for the end. Really great macro from Tristana. So quite honestly, you know, in my opinion, DOPA played a good game, but that one mistake on that bot side around the Atacon, I think cost him that game. I think there was a lot of great lane fundamentals and some creative macro, and good mid-game fundamentals, but that one play really cost him because he obviously had two losing sides. So overall, DOPA's playing at a very high level. You know, good quality fundamentals, great quality threat assessment, still room for improvement, but an incredibly sophisticated player. And considering he's had this extended break, I'm genuinely very impressed. So overall, I'm looking forward to seeing more of DOPA's play.